Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Friday, November 4th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Well, it may be November, but the temperature outside lately has felt closer to summer rather than heading into winter. The stretch of above seasonal weather is uncommon for this time of year, with temperatures this weekend expected to break records. SaltWire's weather specialist Alistair Alders breaks down the reasons behind it.
Yeah, so there's two main factors, and the main factor that we've been experiencing really for much of October and now continuing into November has been a very large blocking ridge of high pressure. And essentially what has happened is we've had this large ridge in the jet stream sending the jet stream well to our north. It's pulling in a southerly flow of air from parts of the southeastern United States, even at times, the Gulf of Mexico. So that southerly flow is pulling warmer air up into Atlantic Canada. And that high pressure system, this ridge in the jet stream, has really just been parked there for much of October and now continuing into November.
And we'll catch up again with Alistair coming up in the weather section. Next to a story across the globe about a journalist from Afghanistan who's currently in hiding in Pakistan. In 2017, the Taliban attacked the TV station in Kabul where Parvez Sapai was working. Now, short of money and trying to publicize his efforts to escape to Canada or another Western nation, he's auctioning off the blood-stained jacket and bandages he wore on air when he continued his broadcast just hours after surviving the Taliban grenade and gun assault. His former colleague, Afghani journalist Mahbub Mahzouz, who made it to Canada in late 2021 and now lives in Halifax, will be translating for Sapai, who speaks Pashtun. They joined SaltWire columnist Paul Schneiderite to talk about the attack and why he's selling the coat.
The motivation behind selling the coat is, as I told you before, I was working for 15 years in Afghanistan, and I have suffered a lot. And after the attack on Shamshad TV, I was the first person to restart the broadcast with the bandage and the bloodshed coat, and I was called a hero journalist by the international media, which you can see a report from the Newsweek. And on that time, I was called a hero journalist, but now I am a forgotten journalist. This is injustice, I think. Once I was a hero journalist, and now I am a forgotten journalist.
And you can watch the full interview and read Paul's column this weekend on saltwire.com. Staff and students from the Faculty of Medicine at Dalhousie University and a colleague from the University of Manitoba are conducting a study to determine the accuracy of top-selling nutrition and diet books. They're breaking down some of the myths and messages that can be misleading. The research team gathered the top 100 best-selling books from Amazon Canada and conducted a search online at public libraries across the country. They also checked what kind of nutritional training-related credentials the authors have. The team found the financial gain is often more prominent than the experience or the evidence to back up the work.
So we found some startling findings. We found that 89% of top-selling publicly available books in Canada were written by authors with financial conflicts of interest, which means that they gained financially from the nutrition advice that they were given. We also found that more than 50% of the authors did not have any sort of nutritional training or experience to be giving the advice that they were giving in their books. And we further found that only roughly 50% cited any sort of scientific evidence or studies.
The team recommends readers should be cautious about the recommendations that come from these books and other trendy diets. Well, if you're from Nova Scotia, you may be familiar with the Miller Lake Dragon. One woodcarver is now hoping to make an even more detailed version with a new name, and he's looking for help with his tools to put it together. SaltWire's Stuart Peddle has the details.
Nova Scotia woodcarver John Robideau is looking to upgrade an iconic figure in HRM, the Miller Lake Dragon. Robideau plans to carve an intricately detailed version of the Capital Region landmark that has caused drivers heading into the city along the 102 to do double takes for decades.
It's going to be like the head this big for sure, 24 by 30-ish head and a nest neck, if you know what I mean.
The retired fisheries worker, who has been carving for more than 20 years, plans to have the new dragon, which he wants to call Dylan, installed by next summer.
I'm using cedar and painting it. It's going to have glow-in-the-dark paint, so hopefully for the first 3 or 4 hours after sunset, it'll glow in the dark.
He has started a GoFundMe campaign, hoping to raise $2,000 to cover the cost of materials and that of a GPS chip that is intended to make sure the new dragon can be tracked if it goes on any unauthorized trips. In Halifax, I'm Stuart Peddle for SaltWire Network.
This Friday, we're introducing a new segment with our SaltWire sommelier and foodie and host of Wined and Dined, Mark DeWolf. It's called Wine of the Week, where Mark shares his suggestions on which wines you can dive into this weekend.
I'm going to take you to Spain. You know, the weather's getting a little cool outside. I'm transitioning from whites to reds. I want something that's richer, but not too tannic. Something I can drink on a Friday night, really enjoy it, and not think too hard about it. What I love about Paris Balta is their commitment to the environment. You know, they are sustainable. They grow using biodynamic methods. They make their wines are vegan, which not all wines are. And really, they just committed to making good value wines. This one is a blend of Cabernet and Grenache. It retails for about $17. And if you're looking for just a great wine to have on a Friday, not to think hard about it, pick up this bottle of wine. Anyway, I'll come back in a week and I'll give you another Wine of the Week selection.
And Mark will be back next week with another Wine of the Week. Time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with author Janice Landry about her latest book, looking at the lasting effect of the 2017 fire in Spryfield that claimed the lives of 7 children in the Barhow family.
What is it that you're hoping that folks will take away from this collection of stories? What is it that you hope will resonate with folks?
I hope that they know that the light's there, right? So, I mean, back in the time I told you earlier on about mom and dad, you know, things were dark in my life. I was experiencing very deep, real grief, and I still grieve them every single day. But the light, I see the light now. And I think my big message to people is to allow room for that. You might not be in a place yet where the light's there, but if you don't allow room for it, even just a little door crack of a little tiny bit of light peeking in, if you allow the possibility for the light to come in, it's going to eventually show up.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of saltwire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
Some of the best hockey players in the world are in Truro, Nova Scotia this weekend for the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association Secret Dream Gap Tour. And for Halifax native Jill Saunier, she's looking forward to the hockey and she's happy to be home.
Skating around this morning for our pregame was pretty exciting, you know, just to know that I'm back in my home province playing the sport that I love, where I started my dream. Out here in Nova Scotia is pretty cool. So excited. Truro's doing an amazing job and I'm happy to be here. It's an honor, obviously, to come back home and show off my home province. I'm a little biased, but I think it's the greatest place in the world. So, you know, to be here, to be able to show all my friends and, you know, the girls that I'm just getting to know as well, my province where I came from, it's been pretty cool. Being able to create such a competitive environment like we did here with P-Dub has been awesome. And I think being able to be on the ice together in Nova Scotia and just kind of showcase how far along we've come has been pretty cool. Playing, you know, with the American girls too has been a lot of fun. Just getting to know them and sharing our passion, our competitiveness has been awesome. So the game's come a long way.
Games start tonight and run through Sunday. In Truro, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now to see what's coming up in the weekend forecast. We're going to check back in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Happy Friday, Kate. It was a beautiful day here in the Halifax area, and the weather looking even better if you're a fan of the warmth for the upcoming weekend. This evening, we will have a few clouds and the temperature near 13 degrees, and we start near 12 degrees on Saturday morning, maybe a bit cooler inland, mainly sunny as we go throughout the day on Saturday, and get this, a high of 21 degrees, but we will have a southwest wind of 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, maybe up to 50 kilometers per hour at times, so the temperature along parts of the coast closer to about 15 degrees. And then we'll have a mix of sun and cloud on our Sunday. 22 degrees the forecast high right now. In comparison, we should be near about 8 or 9 degrees for this time of year, so certainly the temperatures this weekend are well above normal and could be record-breaking. Now, the warmth will stick around into Monday, and then behind a sharp cold front, temperatures do cool down quite a bit as we go into Tuesday. So take advantage of this beautiful weather this weekend if you're able. Have a good weekend. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to SaltWire.com. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at SaltWire Today. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here Monday.